Hi there, so we're back doing our cook along. Thank you everybody that's taken part. We've been really overwhelmed with the response. It's been absolutely amazing to sell out so quickly. We've got 3 really nice courses, I think. First thing to do as ever is get your bread in the oven. Put the oven on about 175 because it's going to need that temperature for the main course as well. And your bread's going to take about 15 minutes to kind of crisp up in there. The starter is something I'm really excited about. It's a dish that I probably eat more than any other. It's something that I cook all the time. It's something I really look forward to. I always say when I get older I'll retire and open an Italian restaurant. This will be the signature dish. So basically it's bucatini pasta with prawns. I've got a sauce here which is made with amazing organic tin tomatoes, peppers, garlic, really nice white wine, cooked down till it's nice and got a really intense flavour. It's seasoned as well, so hopefully we'll just check the season at the end, but I've tried to put the right amount of salt in there. So crucially, we've got a pan of water on boiling. We need to make sure that the water is really well seasoned, so I put a lot of salt in there. I've already put some in, but I'll put more in basically. It's you want at least, well, the thing with it is don't try this at home, kids, but basically if you taste it, it should almost be like seawater. So the salt serves 2 purposes. Obviously it seasons the pasta, but also it hardens the gluten inside the pasta. So the key thing with pasta is we're looking for pasta that is al dente. A lot of people don't really know what that means, and if you usually buy commercial pasta from the supermarket, it's nearly always overcooked. If you go to an Italian generic restaurant, it's always really badly cooked. So what we have here is some proper, good quality Italian pasta. It's rough, and the texture you'll see it's got a roughness to it. That's because it's extruded through a bronze die, not a Teflon one. It's made with top quality Durham wheat flour, and it's slow dried, really slow dried. So cheap pasta is dried in an oven. This is dried just at kind of ambient temperature, really slowly. And this is going to give us an incredible texture to the pasta. So ideally, I'd like you to have, especially if you're cooking for 2 people, a big pan of water. Now, that's how I cook pasta. However, I know a lot of people haven't got big stock pots. Most people have pans this size. So I'm going to show you how to do it in a pan this size. So essentially, obviously you can do 2 lots in there. If you do 2 lots, make sure you've got plenty of water in. It's important there's enough water because it stops it from sticking. So you place your pasta in the middle, twist it, let it drop out like that, and obviously you can see that some of it's sticking up. So the pasta takes just 6 minutes to cook. So as soon as it goes in, put on the timer for 6 minutes. Don't need any more than that, and then basically take a fork and just tease the rest of the pasta into the pan. So the pasta water's on. One thing we're going to do is we've got frozen prawns. I don't like using cooked prawns because they overcook them. When most people cook prawns, they completely overcook them. They're usually horrible. Best thing to do is buy them frozen. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of water out of here and just cover the prawns over with boiling water. So probably the best way for you to do this is to do it in a cup at home. And we're not looking to turn them pink. We're not looking to cook them. We're just looking to defrost them. So we want them still to be raw. Now, obviously, what you can do alternatively is just defrost them ahead of time, which is probably easier. I'm just showing you this technique, so if you fancy replicating it and you've got some prawns in the freezer, you can do it quickly. So in addition to the prawns and the pasta, we've got some olives and some capers. We've got some unduja, which is a spiced pork sausage, spreadable sausage from Calabria in the south of Italy, and some parsley. The parsley I've chopped. You'll have to chop it, use the stalks as well, there's a lot of flavour in there. And when you're chopping your parsley, don't do a Jamie Oliver, don't do it like this, because it just destroys it. So you slice it like that, proper slicing motion, so it cuts through the herbs and doesn't bruise them, so you get lovely vibrant herbs like that. So the prawns have been in the water now for about a minute, and obviously I've got asbestos hands, the hot water's relatively hot, but it basically, they're raw, but they're not frozen. So at this point I'm going to drain them off. So the prawns, they only took about a minute, and now they're ready. I drained the water off. As I said, we're using bucatini pasta. That's why it cooks quite quickly, because I don't know if you can see this, but it has a hole in the centre of it, essentially, so the water gets in there, helps it to cook quickly. So that's the 6-minute timer. So the pasta's ready. I'm going to drain it off. So I just use the same pan now. One thing that we do is we reserve a little bit of the pasta water. So you put the strainer over and basically save a little bit of the water in a mug or a pan or anything. It's just in case we need to wet it down, because the starch is in there, it helps it to emulsify. It might be that we don't require it. The quicker you work, the less you're likely to require it, because as the pasta sits there, it steams, so it's drying out. So I'm going to try and be quick with this. So I just pop the sauce in, and then I'll pop the prawns in. And then what we're going to do is don't overcook the prawns. People always overcook prawns when they're not chefs. You have to understand that prawns will cook, they're cooked essentially, or the denature at 40 degrees. So at that temperature, just above body temperature, they're cooked. If you go to Spain, you can eat them, raw generally, or very lightly cooked. So we cook them on one side. Sorry, we cook them on one side, and then we just flip them over quickly. And at that point, they're done. So take them off the heat, pop in my olives and my capers. And I'm going to take the andouille and just kind of break the andouille into little bits. The andouille is better at room temperature actually, so get it out a little bit earlier to let it sort of melt a bit. So the andouille is kind of melted into there now. The prawns are cooked. Just going to toss the pasta in there. Straight in. Off the heat. And what we're looking for here is we want it to just kind of coat the pasta. If it's clumping at all, then you're going to have to add a little bit of the pasta water. This looks okay to me. And then we just pop it straight in a bowl. Obviously there's no elegant presentation with this, it's quite a rustic thing. There you go, so beautiful prawns with bucatini and andouille, and don't put any dodgy 1970s parsley sprig on top. So on to our main course. We've got, quite unusual for me because I don't often cook chicken or eat it, but we found these really nice Churchill Farms chicken breasts that are really, really nice. And the difficulty is obviously they come in different sizes and you just have to get kind of what size you get. So rather than just giving you a raw chicken breast and telling you how to cook it, not everybody has temperature pros, etc. What we've done with this is I've cured it and I've cooked it sous vide at 65 degrees and held it at 65 degrees for 2 hours. So it's effectively pasteurised, it's killed any pathogens, etc. And it's been rapidly chilled in ice water. So what we need to do is just take it out of the bag, dry it off. Your chicken might be a bit of a weird shape. This one was a bit of a weird shape. I've kind of trimmed it a bit. You don't have to, because obviously we're going to kind of cover it over anyway. But essentially what we're going to do now is start the Maillard reactions in it, so the browning of it, what's going to make it taste really meaty. So I've got a pan on with just a layer of olive oil, and I just pop that into there, and we'll just hold it in place and get some colour on it. The oven, by the way, sorry, is already preset to 175 degrees, That's a fan oven. Obviously, if it's non-fan, an extra 20 degrees or so. And we're going to colour this off, add a little butter, and then it only needs about 7 minutes in the oven. So all we're looking to do is bring the temperature up inside of it. If your chicken is pink, don't worry about it. It's just purely because of the curing process. So it's not pink because it's raw, it's cured because it's effectively been in an immersion brine. So it's like almost like the reason why ham is pink. So get a little bit of colour on one side. So it's been coloured now, and at this point we'll add butter to the pan. Just get it going. And I'm just going to baste it with some of this butter. And then this goes straight into the oven. Set a timer for 7 minutes. So the other ingredients we've got, while the chicken's cooking, is obviously because it's been in a water bath, the skin doesn't crisp up properly. So what we've done is we've taken the skin, removed all the fat, and we've crisped it up so it's got a really intense flavour. So it's a big piece of chicken skin, it's shrunk right down to that. And then we've got some really nice garnishes with this. So this is it's a bit like a risotto. It's made with spelt, which is a rare grain. Spelt's really high in fibre, very low glycemic index, it's very healthy. It does have little husks in it sometimes though, which you do get. So if you chew on something, you think, what's that? I've got a piece of wood in it or something. It's not, it's just the husk from the spelt. You can warm this in a pan or just in a microwave. Obviously if you microwave it, do it in a couple of batches, stir it, maybe give it a minute and stir it again. These are one of my absolute favourite things in the world, Mitake mushrooms. So these are known as hen of the woods because they taste like chicken. So as we've got a chicken dish, you know, obviously I thought there'd be nothing better than this. We've got a really nice jus here, traditionally made. It's a mixture of basically veal stock and chicken stock. I flavoured it with some sage and some rosemary as well. And then we just got a little bit of cavolo nero cabbage that's been pre-blanched. This is pre-cooked, and all we'll do is just warm it through in the fat left over from the chicken. The chicken's just got a couple of minutes to go, and I'll come back to you and show you how to plate it in a minute. So the chicken is cooked. I just flipped it midway through just to get some colour on both sides. So this brown in here is going to add so much flavour. We take it. Please make sure when you take the pan out of the oven that you use a cloth or an oven glove, because we do get people that kind of, you know, don't do that and just go and grab it. So obviously it's red hot. We've got hot fat in there as well. So obviously that needs to be disposed of into a ramekin or whatever. We'll just pour that away. So we've kept the pan because there's a lot of residue in there from the chicken that's going to add flavour. And I'm just going to add the Mitake mushrooms. So I've given you quite a lot of these. You don't need to use them all, just you can use them for something else. They're just so delicious that I thought it'd be nice to have some. And we'll get a nice bit of colour on there. Some butter on. You want to go a nice kind of golden colour. Don't scrimp with the butter. If you've never eaten these before, you're in for a real treat with these. So we need to season them just with salt. You notice I don't use a lot of black pepper because I think a lot of the time people forget pepper's a spice, you know, and if you just use it in everything, then, you know, everything tastes the same. So a really good tip here is get yourself some J-cloth or something on the side, put your chicken on it, put your mushrooms on it. There you go. And then again, I'm going to discard this butter, and then I'm just going to warm the cabbage in it. And again, this just needs a tiny bit of salt. A little bit of fresh butter, not a lot. Just pop that to one side and it'll residual heat the pan up. Cook it we'll plate everything up. So, this is the spelt that's been heated. Just pop that in the centre of the plate. If it dries out a little bit, you might need to just add a small amount of water to it. Just create a bed like this. And then the chicken, I'm going to just slice it. So you see, we've got that nice crusty edge on the outside. That's going to give it loads of flavour. Check how it is on the inside. Nice and juicy. Pleased with that. Just put that on the plate. So I just dress with a little bit of cabbage. I think in some ways the mushrooms are the star of the show here, so we'll kind of just dress them around the chicken. The only thing I need to do now is just warm my jus up, which I'll just do in the microwave very quick. So I'm just going to pour the jus from here, just around the edges. You don't need a lot, it's very intense. So what I would say is, just look at the size of your chicken breast. If it's quite large, 7 minutes. Some of them are a little bit thinner. If it's quite thin and long, probably give it, only needs 5-6 minutes. But that's the dish. So we've got the cured chicken. So the chicken is salted already. You might need to want to just add a little bit of rock salt over the top of it. The maitake mushrooms, the spelt risotto, the jus, and the cavolo nero. And I forgot the crowning glory. Our chicken skin, so we'll just kind of pop that in there. So on to dessert. So we're doing a buttermilk panna cotta. It's got Tahitian vanilla in it, absolutely beautiful. The buttermilk is a lot lower fat than cream, makes it more tart, makes it less heavy. I try really, really hard and do an awful lot of work getting just exactly the right amount of setting agent in this. So panna cotta is basically, most panna cottas are well overset. It just wants to be almost collapsing. So traditionally panna cotta would be eaten in a glass actually, not turned out. But now people tend to put loads in. So unfortunately it's going to make it really difficult to turn out, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So I've got asbestos hands. I've got a pan of water here that's on the boil. You probably haven't, so you might want to wear some marigolds or something when you do this, but we'll put it in there and I'll hold it for a moment. And when it starts just coming away from the edges, I'll just run a knife around the top bit. And turn it out. So what you want to do is just tip it slightly, not too much because it can flip over. Just tip it slightly, and what you want is you want the air to get up one side from the gravity, and then that'll make it drop out essentially. And then with it, we've just got a pear that's been poached in red wine and spices. We've got a little bit of a syrup that it's been poached in. You can just drizzle it around. I tend to put it in one of these squeezy bottles if you've got one, and just do some around here. And then just for a textural contrast, we just got a little bit of meringue here. We'll just pop on. There you go. So that's our buttermilk panna cotta with Tahitian vanilla, poached pear syrup, and meringue. So I hope you've enjoyed your meal. I enjoyed it anyway, having all of it. We'd really, really appreciate it if you could share your meals on social media. It really helps us out. We've got a dedicated Instagram page, the underscore kitchen underscore cook. There's my personal Facebook that you can tag me in, or there's the Gourmet Dining Room Facebook page on there also. I just want to say thank you for all the support we've had. It's been absolutely amazing, and you know, we can't wait to get you back here in person. Take care.